Right. So my next question relates to, I better lean over a microphone, or is there a portable one? The death of the institutional website. So I hoped to get a drop on this, but Paul Hoskins from Precedent said to me a few weeks ago, I don't believe we're going to have institutional websites. A few weeks ago, bastard, conference. So a lot of the things we've seen during the course of this conference is related to about content rather than platforms. There's a lot of talk of CRM, getting the right place, the information to the right people at the right times. Do we, as a panel, agree that the institutional website is in its twilight years? And Andrew Miller, who's now left the building, like Elvis, asked me to ask you also about the death of the CMS. Are they up to the task? So, is either the CMS or the institutional website dead? Dead.
Dead. I don't think so. I can't. I mean, I think the website will become perhaps less of a focus as we have other channels that particularly students are using. And I think if the website's not dying, then I'm not sure the CMS is going to die either, because we need some way of trying to manage this information. I think, hopefully, I can only imagine that the institutional website has got to reduce in size. I think we've got to really focus on important stuff and just stop using it as an area for absolutely everyone to put all of their stuff on just for the sake of having, somewhere to put all their stuff.
Remember Chris's point, one page view.
Well, yeah, exactly, one page view, that's true. But maybe we could just hide those away and we just have to type it. So, I personally can't quite see the death of the website yet.
I think from the institutional point of view, there's always going to be the necessity to have a website to put all of the legal required stuff. So there's no hope that it's ever going to go away. And indeed, if you got rid of it, what would be the central hub for information? There has to be something to draw information together, even if it's not very big. I mean, we don't have a central CMS, big surprise, but we have a central website, which isn't actually very big at all. It's only a few hundred pages. And then it all goes off into complete chaos. But we will always have to have that, just so that we can signpost which way you go to chaos and how you get back to it. I mean, that's always been the purpose of the central site, and also the templates, because they give a sort of a veneer of coherence over the whole lot.
I think one of the things that I would say is that we should be taking our own medicine and asking, what is the business problem we're trying to solve? Is it the case that our websites aren't working for the things that we're trying to do? Because if it's that, then there are other communication channels and there are other ways to communicate with our users. But if it is just a desire for change without any reason or any rationalisation, I think that's problematic. So I think that if we're going to be kind of authorities in our institutions, we need to say the problem we are trying to change is this, and we will do that by changing our website or putting this information on YouTube. So it might be the death of the website, the institutional website, but I'm more interested in why that might be the case.
That's very interesting. I'm not sure how to answer this question. I don't think web is going away, but I can't remember who was talking about freeing up the content to be a true sort of create once, publish everywhere kind of stuff, so you don't have to be copying and pasting and rejigging content all the time. So yeah, there's ways that we can produce the content, speaking as a content person, produce the content in such a way that the same stuff can literally be used in any different channel, different platform. That's something to move towards, and I don't know how well the CMSs can handle that kind of thing, whether we need a new type of CMS.
I want to make an additional point to this, which is we have hoped to have UCAS here in the last morning doing a talk about some of the developments they're doing. They've changed from being a very moribund, slow-moving organisation like we would all recognise into a very agile organisation, and they're doing a lot of stuff around prospectuses, course finders, application forms, and I can foresee a time when all that activity will be held on the UCAS website, and there'll be no real interest in university doing all this stuff locally. Well, I've talked a cliche, there you go. I mean, people already come through UCAS, they're used to that. We were doing some guerrilla testing at the start of term with some freshers. We just approached people in the refectory and sidled up to them. And we found that 50% of people we spoke to had never used our university website. Had never used the university website at all before they came on campus as a matriculated student. So that was quite an eye-opener. So I want to contradict some of the assumptions that we're here and say I think there will be a time when, well, maybe Helen's got it right, we have a repository and then the rest is done elsewhere. Moving on to my next question. Is devolution, we've heard a lot on this conference about enabling people in department sections to come and collaborate and contribute. Is that the answer to the content challenge? I have to admit that I started the conference thinking that it wasn't. I'm sick of people writing crappy content. We shouldn't be speaking to them at all. We should get a team of pros in and just do it. That was the sort of with my Andrew Miller, it's all about student recruitment hat on. And I've just been really inspired by those last 3 presentations. My goodness, the amount of effort people are making to try and get us to understand who we work with. So my question is devolution to content writers and punters and departments and sections the answer to the content challenge?
I think it kind of has to be, in a way. I mean, I think I agree with you. I think at Exeter we have quite a big web team. We've kind of quite traditionally had sort of web officers who deal with particularly with content, on school and college websites, and we've kind of been a bit scared to let people into there. More recently we have sort of let people write their own content, and it's been terrible. But then I think perhaps it's because we've not supported them and we've not quite got our training together to make sure that we're upskilling people to do this properly and understand what it is we're trying to achieve and why we're trying to do it. So, and perhaps this links into whether the institutional website is dead. These websites are huge. There's no way we can manage every single piece of content. So perhaps we just need to pick the bits that we want to make sure we're happy, we're in control of, as it were, and just say everything else is, is outside of that. Is it the walled garden?
Yeah.
Just say, right, you can run free and see how it grows. Yeah.
There's 2 main things here. I'm actually married to an academic, so for the best part of 40 years I've been living that life that Chris described, and I can say yes, it is every bit as much as that and probably more as well. So I've got every sympathy for all the departments and all the research groups and everybody else who wants to create their own content, because by and large they have a better focus on who their audience is than we have. And one of my hats is running a CMS that runs over 300 websites. A lot of them are for departments, but more of those are for research groups. And there's an imperative for research groups to actually talk out to an audience, both to be able to attract future funding and also to publicise more about what work they're doing. And they can't be managed about what they're saying because it's only them that knows how to say it. So depending on who you are, what kind of institution you are, I think you have to let your users free to produce their own content. Some departments can be much more restrictive than any content editor could ever be about the content that they'll allow to be shown on their websites.
Yeah, I agree. I think my answer would be very much it depends. It depends on your institution. It depends on who currently has control of the content and how hard you want to fight to wrestle some of that control back. I know that for us, we have kind of concentric circles, things that we are quite happy to be devolved and things that we say this is core and we are not going to let anyone other than us have access to this. And I think this is really important because there's a level of reputational risk, particularly with consumer protection legislation and CMA and, the way that we are being judged and assessed on our websites now, that there are some things I would say, no, I do not want anyone outside of my team having access to these web pages. But there are a large number of other pages that, with a high level of training and a high level of support, I'm happy for people to have access to. And then there are other pages where, to be honest, you do know better than me about this, and I would like to have access to those pages so that I can take them down in an emergency, but that's all I really want to do with them.
I think what you just said about training and support is the key here, that when I first heard the question, should we be devolving the content, my immediate reaction is no, it's not, don't be stupid. But there's no other way around it. But St Andrews have got the digital visa, is it called?
Yep.
Which I think is an awesome idea, and these core training courses that are compulsory for anyone that's going to touch the website, and then optional extra ones. And I don't know about sort of one-on-one support, and if you can pick up a phone and say, help me with this content at any time, but that would be ideal, I think. That's something I'd love to move towards at our university.
Thank you. At Aberdeen, we're just tentatively going to do something which is kind of having our cake and eating it, so exercising complete control over certain things, but also creating another environment. And I'm sorry, Brian, if you're watching, I'm going to talk about the thing we haven't actually told anybody about yet. So we're actually thinking of creating a separate instance or instances for research and teaching, such that even the individual Chris mentions as a one-page view here can have a nice area that supports their requirements, but it doesn't add to the overall cognitive load on the central student recruitment corporate site. So we're actually going to do a sort of physically different server environment or server environments. We may even do some outsourced cloud hosting WordPress on there. What else might be up there? So that's just a notional thought at the minute, but we have struggled over years to control academic and research teaching in a way that minimises risk, both data risk and actual server security type stuff. So although I'm entirely sympathetic and empathetic to Chris's colleagues, we do need to have some degree of control, and I think there's maybe a way of doing it. So that concludes the pre-prepared questions I had. But if you'd like to ask anything of our new experts, we'd be very glad to hear from you. Brian has a mic, and thank you for staying so late.
Andrew,
We have to continue. The bingo is finished.
what were we talking about? So Brian's asked me to say just a couple of words about IWMW in Southampton, and one of the arrangements that I have with our Director of IT Services is we actually have pre-allocated funding to send people to this conference every year. So, and that the approval for that has been delegated to me, so I have full authority to just send some people. And I have recently spoken to our director and actually asked whether we can increase that number. So that's an approach I think has worked quite well for us.
Thank you. Anyone else questions or comments?
It's more of a comment really about the regional groups, and when they started a few years ago we had the North East regional group, which then became anyone who wanted to come, who wanted to get on a train up north. So I think they were really, really valuable, so I think it's probably worth maybe on the Slack channel having a discussion about regional groups. Because I think, even if it's once a year in between this, I think they were really valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment.
Already a Yorkshire hashtag on there.
Yes, hashtag Yorkshire.
You didn't get a bingo point for it, though. Any last comments? I'm going to wrap things up then. Can I thank our panel?